Hi there, and welcome to Celeb Hut. Okay, so I have hardly any familiarity with you all yet. Never ever did I figure we could at any point see Wendy's ex Kevin Hunter shielding Wendy and attempting to save her from her guardianship. However, we are right here for those of you who don't realize Wendy has been under court requested guardianship for some time now, and fans have been theorizing that there is something off-putting happening between Wendy. Furthermore, her gatekeeper Sabrina, Kevin is presently asserting that Sabrina has bet and supposedly taking from Wendy and offering Wendy's own effects to get a portion of her cash. Kevin isn't representing it, so he is battling Sabrina, not entirely set in stone to uncover her for the last time you all get into this show, since I couldn't say whether Kevin is here to play with Sabrina. However, I couldn't say whether he's truly down for Wendy. Okay? So as of now, I figure we can all concur that there's something genuinely odd happening with Wendy Williams. Wendy has been out of the spotlight for a while now, and it's an obvious fact that she hasn't precisely been making a lot of money recently. Typically, this wouldn't be a joking matter since she's been hustling since the 90s, and she ought to have a decent monetary cook, but these aren't ordinary times. Wendy is under court-ordered conservatorship, meaning she can't contact her own cash. The court put a lady named Sabrina Morrissey responsible for Wendy's funds, and this choice has ignited a ton of debate. Many accept that Sabrina may be taking advantage of Wendy, and Wendy's ex, Kevin Hunter, is currently guaranteeing that Sabrina has been directly taking from Wendy. Yet things got considerably sketchier. A couple of days prior, news broke out that Wendy Williams' New York penthouse was sold for an amazingly low cost, and this made fans begin exploring. And it's not taking a gander at all now for those of you out of the circle. This entire wreck began when Wells Fargo, Wendy's bank, impeded her from getting to her record. They asserted that she was debilitated and unfit to deal with her funds. However, Wendy battled this choice too much, demanding she was entirely adequate. Yet the bank stood firm, and they figured out how to get Wendy set under conservatorship. Sadly, Wendy lost the battle and wound up under her court-order conservatorship, and her family was the first to stand up with her sibling, uncovering that they were kept in obscurity about Wendy's circumstances. When news broke that Wendy was beginning a digital broadcast, her sibling didn't keep down. He blamed Sabrina and Wendy's group of taking advantage of her and pushing her to work when she wasn't in that frame of mind to do as such as per him in the event that Wendy couldn't deal with her own cash. Then how in the world was she alright to begin a webcast and do other stuff? Definitely the math wasn't mathing. He said this isn't a lady who was in the right temper to get a show rolling. For what reason? You even here? Do you see the condition she's in? Does it seem as though she's prepared to begin a web recording for the love it doesn't? Anything that they do with it, they will do it will be miserable. I can't fault Wendy for anything. I believe that she should get better. She's worse, so I can't be distraught at her for any of these reports that Wendy was being avoided by her family. Yet the circumstances deteriorated when we figured out that Wendy was auctioning off her own things. An insider released this platitude. Wendy has been calling individuals, requesting that they help her sell all her stuff. She is requesting suggestions on places that can sell furniture for you. The insider added that in her groundwork for her move, she needed to perceive how she could list things in her home that might actually incorporate her notable purple seat, among other things. No doubt the circumstance was bewildering. Assuming there was one thing that we had some awareness of Miss Wendy Williams, it was her profound warmth for her purple seat. She revered that seat more than anything. It was one of only a handful of exceptional things she battled to keep from the set at the Wendy Williams show after she got terminated. So why in the world would she unexpectedly choose to sell it? Well, that purple seat held such a lot of nostalgic incentive for herself, as well as Wynn's Conant. Etching to it was notable, and it was essentially her brand name. The seat had been with her through innumerable episodes and incalculable meetings, and endless phases of her life. It was an image of her experience on the show and a piece of her inheritance. Yet when Wendy was given up from the show, she didn't simply leave with her own effects. No, she made a point to get that seat. That is the reason the insight about her selling is so astonishing. And it didn't make any sense. Was she in some sort of monetary difficulty? Was she attempting to say something, or did her gatekeeper sell it without her even noticing, without her consent? It was positively seeming as though Sabrina had been messing around with Wendy's cash and possessions. Anyway, the story that Sabrina put out was that Wendy was doing a spring cleaning and needed to auction her things. Her marketing specialist put out an announcement for her sake that said Wendy is disposing of things for spring cleaning. And this is the very thing individuals do this season. It's another part for Wendy, and she needs new things. This is what typical jokesters do, and Wendy is the same. It is time to move on to better things anyway. Individuals were exceptionally wary in the event that Wendy was sick to such an extent that she should have been put in less than a court-ordered conservatorship with some irregular lady named Sabrina and eliminated from her genuine family. How is it that she could unexpectedly arrive at conclusions about selling her own things? The rationale didn't make any sense, and the doubts about something obscure began to circle the narrative at long last, giving us a first look and taking a gander at the degree of her battles, and it was for sure disturbing. From the absolute first scenes, it was obvious that Wendy wasn't in a steady perspective. She started by guaranteeing she was bankrupt and had nothing passed on to her name and alluded to her continuous fight with drinking. Seeing Wendy in this condition was jostling. She was placed before an adjudicator and giving a watchman that was the point at which they removed it from us. I have no cash. I will let you something know if it happens to me. It could happen to you as her family. We were all remaining uninvolved watching. And she was shouting out for help. Did you drink this entire thing today? Her well-being and mental state were obviously weakened a long way from the dynamic character her fans were utilized to the narrative. I didn't avoid the unforgiving reality, uncovering exactly the way in which extreme her circumstance had turned into the story she introduced about being monetarily down and out, caused a stir and energized further worries about her prosperity. And fans couldn't assist with scrutinizing the conditions encompassing her conservatorship and the administration of her undertakings. The irregularity was glaring, persuading numerous to think that there was more going on than what was freely revealed in so. Mething very similar narrative, her child Kevin Gr. additionally guaranteed that he didn't completely accept that the watchman was dealing with Wendy, and he felt that she was leaving Wendy open to being exploited like the gatekeeper has not worked effectively of safeguarding my mother, my life, my life. Right, presently she's frail and helpless, and she should associate with individuals who won't exploit that. Yet strangely, back in 2022, Wendy's ex Kevin Hunter was quick to get down on her gatekeeper Sabrina for exploiting her at the time. We didn't actually listen when he needed to say, in light of the fact that he was additionally battling to get his hands on Wendy's cash. He said Wendy was in recovery and these individuals recently quit keeping my cash code turkey. These individuals have attempted to starve me out toward the finish of the day. I brought in that cash and I'm not allowing them to take. I realize she isn't in a decent spot, and she is encircled by individuals who are exploiting her condition, including the supposed guardianship. He then, at that point, requested to see her bank explanations returning 2 or 3 months. However, Sabrina didn't oblige, and Kevin was persuaded that Sabrina had purportedly been misusing Wendy's cash. Wendy's state in the narrative was disturbing too. The point that individuals quickly began requesting answers. Her sister and niece then approached, guaranteeing that Sabrina had removed Wendy from her family. They uncovered that they needed to go through Sabrina each time they needed to address Wendy. Her sister Wanda Finney asserted that the last time her family had seen her was in 2021, saying that when she was in Florida, there were various individuals included, even past family, specialists included, and individuals in Wendy's expert. She had a well-being group set up, medical caretakers set up, and a family set up. She was getting better. She likewise said, I don't believe there's anybody Wendy requires more than her family, with the exception of Singe. At the cash part, all I need to know is that my sister will live and that she will be solid. The worry of the family has forever been Wendy's well-being. Yet Wendy's niece Alex Finney also examined the drastic actions that Wendy's gatekeeper took to keep her from her family. Alex guaranteed that Wendy is expected to call her relatives from a hindered telephone number because they can't connect straightforwardly to her. Alex likewise said, and I say this sincerely, we went through birthday celebrations, we went through occasions, we went through disease. There was a period when my granddad was in the emergency clinic. It was basically impossible to reach her and let her in on what the deal was with her kid father. Then the narrative emerged, and it showed Wendy in a disturbing light that provoked a wave of concerning inquiries from fans. Her family's claims fanned the fire. They illustrated separation and control, proposing that Wendy was being avoided by the people who really thought often about her prosperity. Subscribe Celeb Hut for more videos.